Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the program. Actually, I should welcome myself back to the program because we haven't done it for a couple weeks. Reason why, after 3 years of dodging a bullet, I got COVID. And because I'm at risk for complications because of some chronic illnesses, I took extra precautions. But in the end, it's impossible to take precautions in a vacuum. Now, while I was coming down with COVID, the Biden White House issued a very terse press release indicating that the president had signed a Republican bill declaring the COVID emergency over. This is a shame. It's not over. I don't say that for self-interest, although I did come down with what they call rebound COVID just last night. It's not fun. I don't recommend it. All this ties into a couple things I wanted to mention to you before we go ahead with this week's program. One is that my colleague, Jocelyn McCurdy-Keats, was kind enough to step in and do the interviews this week since I really wasn't feeling up to it. So you'll hear several interviews that Jocelyn conducted. The first one, which you'll hear in this hour, is with another friend, Rebecca Vallis, who is an attorney and an activist in the field of social insurance, medical care, the social contract, and so on. And I think you'll find that interesting. They talk about radical self-care. It's interesting to note, by the way, that even the most radical self-care cannot be conducted in a vacuum. Yes, we must take care of ourselves, both for our own interests and for the interests of the community, and for the interests of those causes and movements we consider ourselves to be a part of. No question about it. But as either Rebecca or Jocelyn, I'm sure, would agree, we cannot fully care for ourselves unless it's also being cared for in a social context. That is the original purpose, for example, of a field like public health. So when we have a White House like ours, willing to accede to the Republicans, willing to brush the pandemic under the rug, as it were, and declare an emergency over, as I say, I'm going to be fine. So don't worry about me. But radical self-care includes the awareness that we need a radical transformation in our systems of care in this country. We need Medicare for all. We need child care for all. We need long-term care for all. We need to understand that we exist, each of us as individuals, in a web of generations, a web of ethnic groups, a web of classes, a web of different forces, all of which should be reinforcing our individual human rights to care for ourselves and to care for others. We'll be right back.